Hi, this is Mark from Unique Ibiza. I'd like to set the scene for the audio interview you're about to hear with Pete Tong. Both myself and Izzy and Pete Tong are sitting outside High, the old space, in Plan de Bossa, Ibiza. In the background you can hear a lot of people enjoying themselves, music, and occasionally the sound of a low-flying aircraft. So here you go, here's Pete Tong at Radio 1.
Good, we're recording?
Yeah, I think we're here. With the sound of the aeroplanes coming over space. High.
So, thank you so much for having a chat with us. Really appreciate it. And how long are you over here for?
Well, on and off, kind of most of the summer this year.
Yeah.
It's a bit tricky because I live in LA.
Yeah, exactly.
But we've been here for 5 weeks on the bounce, and we're leaving next week actually.
Oh, you are?
And then coming back, but so on and off from the IMS at the end of May.
Yeah.
To the closing of Blue Marlin, which will be the end of September.
Yeah, Blue Marlin sessions have been awesome.
Yeah, it's been really good.
Really good fun.
Yeah, it's been a really good fit for me. I always love playing daytime, and the venue's reinvented itself, and Sunday's become this like institution. So
yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, having artists like Green Velvet and Team come down is so good.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
Izzy and I wanted to go back to back because I'm very old school.
Right.
I'm from back in the day, and I was showing Izzy a bit of artwork I found in my office the other day from Prestatin in 1988.
Oh my God.
And we found it fantastic. Well, it's part of my archive. I like to keep stuff, and so I thought we'd show that to you. And,
Yeah.
I don't know
So there you go. There's you from back in the day.
Yeah.
So, it was quite a lineup, to be fair. There was a lot of well-known names on there.
And I was working with these guys for quite a while before. This was the beginning. This was the beginning of the end of the era of me working with what they would call the Soul Mafia.
Yeah.
Because when Westwood got added and Paul and Nicky, that was the kind of start of the split, really, and Giles. So it was good. Chris was my mentor, really, as when I was a kid.
Yes.
He was a massive help to me when I was getting started. He was kind of my idol, and then Froggy helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I got really into equipment and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So how did you kind of move on from the soul music to the house vibes?
It was more about, I think it was state of mind. My kind of, I guess you didn't really, what's the word I'm looking for? You didn't really kind of think about it in the same way back in the day, but I was clearly, for me it was all about music and driven about new music and discovery, and that's been my mission my whole life. It's almost like finding a record I like and then sharing it with my friends and doing it, from like literally playing them in a pub when I was a kid, to playing them in a club, to playing them on pirate radio, to playing them on legal radio, to playing them on Radio 1, and then starting a label. It's always been about finding music and sharing music.
Yeah.
So I got in with that gang like very early, like literally when I was 15, 16, kind of making the different understanding that there was you could play music as a DJ, and then there was this kind of cool scene, so the soul and jazz funk scene was the cool scene. It was run really by Robbie, Vincent and Chris Hill.
Right.
So then suddenly it's more about your social network of like wanting to get into that gang, and my way of doing it was I started clubs in Kent. I booked them to come and play for me, and then they subsequently booked me to come and play with them. That's just how I got to play at the Gold Mine, and then got to play with Chris at like the All Dayers like Pearly, and then eventually Royalty in Southgate. So that was my way into that gang, and then I got a job at a magazine that kind of ran that scene, blues and soul, and then started writing a column about these guys. So I kind of was part of the gang. But when music changed, this kind of soul scene of the late 70s, early 80s was all about old music.
Yeah.
And not very much current music, And then me and Oki and Nicky were always driven, and to a certain extent Froggy were driven more about what was happening now. Froggy went to New York, like discovered Larry Levan, came back, told us all about him. Then electro started, and then early days of even hip hop. That's what me and Paul were into. That's what we wanted to play. So it's more like it's like being in a band with your mates, and like half of them want to still be playing rock and roll, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, and the other half of the band want to go and do kind of, you know, Run DMC and the Beastie Boys, and that was literally what it felt like. We were creatively at odds with each other, and there were times at the end, like around that gig, where we would go on stage and play like hip hop, and like Chris, I mean, they're freaking out. Like you can't play like you know, Rock the Bells by LL Cool J at Press That in Weekender. So it caused the divide, and then you know, the house scene, like the early house records, Marshall Jefferson, stuff like that, and we just went our separate ways.
Yeah.
And I started working more with Nicky as a promoter, and he was the one that was famously on. He brought me here in '86 actually, and then '87 was the famous holiday with Johnny Walker, who's on that poster as well. Paul and Danny Rampling. Danny Rampling was actually Nicky's kind of roadie at the time.
Amazing.
And then it kind of changed the world from there. So Ibiza was really the final divide, because once we'd been here, kind of couldn't go back. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did Radio 1 happen in the first instance for you?
Well, all this activity, I got kind of hotter as a DJ, ended up getting on Capital, and at the time when the acid house and rave scene started in London, right place, right time.
Yeah.
It was kind of biggest youth culture movement in the country. And then I knew all the Radio 1 people, and I'd done a guest spot there years before, and eventually I got Jeff Young, who was on that poster as well, decided he was going to give up DJing, and he left Radio 1, and then the management at the time, which was actually still a guy called Johnny Beerling, called me and they said, would you want to come to Radio 1? And that's like getting promoted to the first team of like a big football club.
Absolutely.
So I started in '91 and I've been there ever since.
Amazing. And how are you finding it, like being in LA, doing the live stuff in there as well?
It's alright. I mean, technology is an amazing thing, but now that the idea of being away from Radio 1 like back in the day was impossible, and now it's possible, you know. Obviously, you know, I record, I've got a studio in LA that's like the same setup as Radio 1, same equipment, same mic, same sound. You know, we do links, they go backwards and forwards. You know, it's always instantaneous apart from the time difference of working with my production team in the UK. And we build the show in the same way, and I think, you know, I still love doing live shows, and I do them occasionally when I'm in London, and I'm doing a few in August actually, because I'll be in London for the rest of this month. And they are fun, but I think in this era of Listen Again and the iPlayer and everyone listening when they want to listen, that live radio, especially for the specialists, is less important than it is for, say, the breakfast show for Grimshaw or something. I mean, my Listen Again figures and Annie's are bigger than Grimshaw's, because Grimshaw's on every day, and Grimshaw's got a much bigger show, but the Listen Again element of the essential mix on my show and Annie and B-Trace is greater. So I think that's when they started that with the iPlayer years ago, these special shows were kind of blew up straight away. It's what people want to listen to, and now it's global as well, which is amazing. So
Absolutely.
I used to syndicate or do shows on loads of different stations all around the world, and now I don't really have to bother, because the best show I do is Radio 1, and everyone can hear it if they get the iPlayers.
Do you feel all at odds with the fact that you're like living in LA but doing BBC Radio 1? How do you feel about that, just personally?
Not really, because I've obviously been there a long time, so it's been there, whatever, 1991. And I think obviously the generational changes and the rise of, you know, all the other DJs. I mean, when I started, I was like replacing the only guy that did it, which was Jeff Young, who replaced Robbie Vincent. And then, then I helped bring on like Judge Jules and Danny Rampling and Westwood, and Westwood, even as a hip hop DJ, was almost felt like he was part of the gang at the beginning. And then now, obviously, we've got this amazing like lineup with B-Trace and Annie and Danny Howard and you know, still Annie Nightingale, and then all the other one-off specialists and residents through the week. So actually, living in LA, I think it's a bonus, because I'm different to everybody. I've been there, you know. You get a different view of the world. You listen to things in a different way.
Quite unique, to be fair.
Yeah. So it's a nice way of being more of the veteran kind of character in that lineup. But I'm a bit more global. So
what's the new music scene like out there?
it's good. I mean, it's big. It's a really big country, and obviously they've gone. I arrived at the absolute peak of like the EDM scene, which probably went way beyond in terms of its commercial impact than it did in the UK. There's a lot of the music at the end of the kind of EDM scene that wasn't necessarily relevant outside of America. The underground has risen definitely, like, which is more the traditional like Ibiza sound. I would say the Ibiza sound is probably bigger in America than say the UK underground. Like, you know, in other words, as a ticket seller like Marco Polo or Solomon or Jamie Jones would be bigger than Duke Dumont or Gorgon City, if you know what I'm saying. So,
absolutely.
Not that they're not doing alright, but and it's just it's changing times. We're waiting to see what the next thing is in America to a certain extent. Obviously, the trap scene, certain characters is absolutely massive. That hasn't necessarily resonated outside the UK. It works a bit in Australia. But it's interesting times. So
we do one more. I mean, we've got one more. Really quick question. I just wanted to ask about, we were at INS last year.
We saw you.
About San I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it now. You basically said San An's a bit of a shithole, which it is. But what do you think of it now? Like, Eden's really stepped up their game. Do you think there's any hope for San Antonio?
Hope, I mean, there's always hope. We've always got hope, actually. And there's always the thought that it's always gone.
I think Ibiza's changing so much again.
Massively.
I mean, there's so many opportunities. I guess with the whole island going a little bit more upscale, catering to a different, more international, even more kind of international tourists than ever before. But whatever we say about San An, there's always Cafe Del Mar, there's always Mambo.
Pikes is just around the corner.
Pikes is actually reinvented itself. But also then Ocean Beach Club. I mean, of the kind of the Love Island.
I've been to Rock's Hotel as well with Cookie Land.
Rock's Hotel. So I think it's funny that actually for a different type of upscale that Ocean Beach has done so well. I mean, they're killing it.
Brilliant. Oh, Pete Tong, amazing. Absolutely. Pleasure, sir. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.